Here's the parts after I've dipped them, and these parts turned out pretty good. I did touch up the magazines a little bit. The stock has been a pain. I've dipped this thing 3 times, completely stripped it once, and this actually looks worse than the first time I dipped it. When the first time I dipped it, everything was covered real good, and I was missing a spot in this corner, you know, maybe 1.5 inch area. And my wife gave me the idea to try to just dip that section and mask off the rest. That's a huge mistake. The masking ended up pulling all the paint off of the base coat, pulled the graphic off. So I tried to dip it again, somehow screwed up. It seemed to be getting worse as I went along and everything. So this is the 3rd time dipping it, and you can see I'm missing spots inside the corners, and then kind of around in here, and then around all these shapes. So it looks about the same on the other side. What I'm going to do is I'm going to try to touch this up. I wish I would have touched it up the first time, but I couldn't get the touch up to work right, and I've kind of figured it out now. So I'm going to try to show you guys how I'm touching this up, and we'll see before and after, see if it does any good. First thing, I got some film here. I got the ink side up, which is the dollar side. At least that's how it is on this film. I got some activator. I got a flat brush. So first thing I'm going to do is just kind of get a little bit of activator on a dark spot. I'm going to fix this corner where it's darker. So I'm going to take a dark spot. It's kind of hard to do and hold. I'm just going to paint some activator on in a spot. I'm going to let that kind of soak into the paint. I don't want the paint to come off yet. And then what I'm going to do is as that gets absorbed into the paint, I'm going to take a pointed brush and I'm going to kind of just mix that up. And I do not want a lot of solvent in here. I was messing up at the beginning because I was getting too much solvent and it was very thin. And I'm trying to keep it thick. And I might have to add more solvent, which is this is activator, and to get more. Basically, I'll just kind of roll it onto my brush here, and then I would come over to the stock and just kind of. I got this pretty dark, so I'm gonna make some dark lines. Try to simulate some of this brush or this bark kind of effect, and then I'll probably come back and shade it in between, but I don't want anything really tan. I want somewhat shaded. So basically I'm just gonna put some darker spots and then I'll add some lighter spots in between and start filling this in. We'll see how it looks. So here's the stock after I've done my first round of touch up. I may do a little bit more once it dries, but when I'm trying to plot color over other color, it's already wet, so I need to kind of wait it dry to try to shade it deeper. But I try to put some darker lines in and then blot around them to try to give them shading so it still resembles bark in the background. So definitely looks a lot better. And I'll probably come back after this dries and blot up or kind of darken a couple of these a little bit better. As you can see, here's my swatch of film, and I used up all this section here, and then I tried to get as much as I could from these 2 green leaves to try to blot in some of the greener areas. So the key is not too much activator. You want it to be kind of a thicker paint instead of thinner. So if you get it too thin, I think you can just wait and the activator will evaporate in a few minutes. So okay, here's the stock after it's touched up. It's still wet in some spots, so you'll see the shine off the wet paint. But if you look at the top, you still got, you know, your image with the leaves. The bark is a background, and it has some limbs. and most of the places that had to be filled in were bark. There's a few places around some leaves that I had to try to shade green to match. But overall, it turned out pretty good. Touched up. So there it is. Thanks for watching.